Hello, this is Adam Franklin-Lyons, and this is an introductory tour of the Jstor dates for the Finding Stuff class at Marlboro College. This is the main page of Jstor, www.jstor.org, and as you can see, I've typed in the Library of Babel into our search bar here. The main search bar in Jstor is a keyword search bar, so hitting that will bring up things that have any of these keywords in the article itself, and this searches a huge collection of articles, mostly in academic peer-reviewed journals that Jstor compiles and sells this content to universities all around the country. So you can see the first one, Borges' Library of Babel, is in fact about that story. But because it's a keyword search, you'll notice the second one, Linguistic Fragmentation and Redemption before King Alfred, does not mention the Library of Babel, Borges' story at all. It is in fact about early English literature and talks about the Tower of Babel, the other sort of major reference for that. And the reason that it occurs is that many of the things it cites come from the Bodleian Library, so the word library appears in the article relatively frequently. Now, one of the cool things Jstor does once you've done one of these keyword searches and you have search terms that are working for you and begin to find stuff, is you can view a list of pages on which those appear. And it then do the number of times one of your search terms appears on a page and what page they appear. So if you click one, it'll bring you to that. They're highlighted, as you can see, Babel, languages at Babel, discussions of the Bible, and then down here in the footnotes, Oxford Bodleian Library, which is why this article appears. So going back to the main page, the view search terms can be particularly useful if you're not quite sure why an article has come up and you want to actually know what that keyword in its context is. You can go right to that page and read the whole thing. When you search for something on Jstor, what you most often get, and this is an important distinction to make, what you most often get are full text articles from journals. This is not always true. On this page, I believe they're all full text. Yes. You'll notice this box here, access to this content. If you get a little green check, that means you can read the entire article. If you get the half green circle, you can only read part of it. The yellow arrow tends to mean that Marlboro has a subscription to this journal, and Jstor knows that, but we do not have it through Jstor. We have it through a different database, Project Muse, Academic Search Premier, etc. So that can be useful. And then citation access generally means you can only see the citation and you don't have access to the article. You'll have to ILL it or find it in paper copy. One of the reasons for this, you'll notice you can turn this on and off. Right now I'm showing all results. Only results with images is another possible reduction of the way that you search. But if you click on all content rather than only content I can access, it gives you a lot more of these yellow stars or yellow arrows. The reason most commonly for that is that Jstor has a moving window in which you can't see most journals. So often the most recent 5 years of a journal are closed to access from Marlboro College. This is not always true, but frequently true. Although sometimes they also catalog information that they don't have or that our subscription level hasn't paid for. And that would be the case in say, this one, the Comparatist in Babel, which is from 1969, obviously after any sort of moving window. So to go back up and do the search, if I actually want Borges' story, the simplest way to do that is just to put quotes around it. And that then, you'll notice, changes very quickly. I still have the same first one, because that's in fact something relevant. But the rest of them now are about Borges and Borges' stories, book reviews, etc. To go over the search within these results, I'm sorry, not within search within these results, to go over the advanced searching capabilities really quick, some of which are useful in this regard. Let's go to advanced search. You will notice, and this is important, that Jstor has no subject headings. This can be frustrating if you're used to doing subject searches, and it does limit how you find things. It really only allows you full text, again, keyword and context, author, title, abstract, or caption. So unless you know the specific author or title, you're often left with simply searching keyword and context, and that's the only available thing you have. It gives you a Boolean operator The nears are particularly useful, as is the not. So you can say, this would be one where we could say library near 5, which means that Babel will appear within 5 or 6 words of library. And I'm willing to bet that if we do this, we will get a search not dissimilar from the one when we put it in quotes. Yes, we have almost exactly the same first 5 or 6 hits, and that's because the most common time when library is going to appear within 5 words of the word Babel is when it appears in Borges' story. Other things you can do in the advanced search include limiting the item type, article, which cuts out getting all of the book reviews, which is often helpful, or reviews if you want to read book reviews. Date range, limit the language to a language that you actually know if you're getting a lot of foreign hits, or you can narrow by discipline. And this is something like a subject heading, and it's fairly complete. You'll notice each of these tells you how many journals appear within that subject heading. So if you're doing an economics paper, you can search only the economics papers, only the economics journals, and make sure that you are getting content more likely to be specific to what you want. You can also use this to browse specific titles within a discipline. So going back to the main page now, I'm going to show you what happens when you actually find an article. And for that I'm going to switch search terms and look for something that I actually research. Famine, medieval France. There, I've even researched it before. So, famine, medieval France, you'll notice the first one is about Iceland. Again, limits of keyword searching. But very quickly we do get famine and market in ancient regime France, fairly well-known article. So we'll go to that article and look at what it does. First off, you'll note that if you have Zotero and you're in Firefox, you get your little Zotero link that will save not just the article itself and all of its bibliographic information, but it will actually save a PDF in Zotero that you can open from Zotero and read whenever you want. Which, I should note, their interface is a little clunky and does not allow you to, as you can see, copy and paste phrases and words. But if you hit View PDF, accept their conditions, which basically say that you won't spread it around too widely and that you will generally follow copyright laws, it will give you a PDF in which you can copy and paste quotes, and it's a little easier to use. The other thing that Jstor gives you down the side, it gives you links outside to Google Scholar, so you can look for related items, items that cite this item, or items by the authors, and this will take you to a new window with Google Scholar. You can look at the references, or you can look at other items in the Jstor catalog that cite this item. And this is particularly helpful if you have an article that you really like and you want to look for people who comment on it. Now in this case, Cormac O'Grady has cited himself, which is perhaps less useful than if you're trying to actually follow scholarly debate. But here above it you see also all of the footnotes that they cite in their article. Also helpful is when you have an article that is cited in the footnotes of the article you're reading, if that article exists in Jstor, you can actually click on it and it will bring you to that article's page. So this can be a really good way to follow scholarly debates. If you find something that's cited and you want to read it and it's in Jstor, it will take you directly there. You can see who else cites it, and you'll notice 5 items citing this one. This will include Cormac O'Grady's Famine and Market in Ancient Regime France. So that's a general introduction to Jstor. The last thing I'd like to point out, since we're watching this right before Valentine's Day, is that Jstor has a new link for merchandise for gifts. Isn't that fun? Just what you always wanted.